Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar, we're going to go through the online app, the mobile app for BNI Connect and show you how that works and how to get it and what it does and how it actually interfaces with BNI Connect and different ways that this can help to enhance your membership. So this is part of a series of webinars that we have put together for new members. This happens to be kind of the 2.5 part webinar in our series. We always start out with the first one, which is filling out your profile, and I'll show you how you can do a little bit of that through the app as well. Yesterday, we went over the online referrals. How do you record your referrals and one-to-ones and all that in BNI Connect and some of the benefits for doing so. Today, we're going to show how you can do that same process through the mobile application and all the different things that we can find here in this system. And then tomorrow, we are going to go into on Tuesday, we're going to go into the social media side of BNI Connect. So we're going to talk about how we can connect with other people around the world and what that actually means as far as the system goes. Next Wednesday, we're going to go deeper into BNI Connect and talk about some of the tools and reports that are in the system. And then finally, we're going to round out the series next Thursday with how do you invite and register visitors and some of the reasons that you want to do so in BNI Connect. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping things. Firstly, this is a live webinar, so if you have any questions whatsoever as we are going through the material today, please do feel free to ask them, whether it's about the mobile app, whether it's about BNI Connect, or anything about BNI Connect. I'm happy to answer those questions. The best way to do that is to please type your questions into the questions panel. I'll see that question pop up on my screen, and I'll be able to help you out with that. For those of you that have found this sometime in the future, it means that you found one of our recordings. We do record all of our webinars. We make them available on the support site as well as on our YouTube channel. So you can always check them out there if you happen to miss today's or if you need to end up leaving early. We do schedule these for about 30 minutes worth of content. That said, I am happy to stay on these webinars until every single question has been asked and answered. But I do like to be respectful as far as the content goes to make sure you guys are getting back to your business if you need to. So we do have a question right away. Nancy says, sorry, I had to step out of my office and missed the future schedule. Sure. I don't usually email that out, but here's how you can find it. See this question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect? It says it's the help button. Click on that. That will take you to the support site, and you'll see a thing that says live and recorded webinars. Under upcoming webinars, register now. You'll see all of the upcoming webinars, so you can register for any of the other ones this month. We even go out into August, where I'm revamping the series a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth with a couple of things. All right, so feel free to jump on any of those. But let's talk about the mobile app. And Alvin does have a question about contacting other members. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold on to that one until the end, if that's okay, Alvin. All right, so the webinar. So let's talk about the mobile app here in BNI Connect. So I have a special program that allows me to actually show my phone here right through the internet. So I'm going to, first things first, you do need to get the app if you haven't gotten it already. It is available for Android and for the iPhone. So you can get that on either of the stores. So for example, here on the Android platform, which is what I use, I'm going to go to the Google Play Store here. And in the store, what I'm going to do is search for BNI Connect Mobile. Right, so BNI Connect Mobile. There should be the top result here. It is the BNI Connect Mobile with that trademark symbol as well as the BNI Connect logo there. Make sure that you're getting the right one. There are some other BNI apps that are out there, but they are not official. This is the only official BNI mobile application that ties directly in with BNI Connect. So make sure that you're downloading the right one. It'll be the same name on both Android and iOS. So after you've downloaded it, you can go ahead and launch it up. Now it is going to be the same username and password that you would use to log into BNI Connect, the full website. It's exactly the same username and password. Dan has a question quick. He says, I have a BlackBerry. Is there an app for the BlackBerry? Unfortunately, the app is only available in Android and iOS right now. And the reason for that, we do have somewhat limited resources. The Android and the iOS make up well over 98% of the marketplace, so we are focusing our efforts on that. So unfortunately, the Blackberries and the Windows phones right now, we don't have a solution for you at this time. It's something that may be done in the future, but right now we're concentrating on getting this in as many hands as we can globally for BNI users. All right, Dan, does that help? I know I'm 100% sure that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but hope it helps. If you don't have your username and password yet, Sherry, I'll show you how to get that towards the end of the webinar, okay? All right, so after you've downloaded that, what I need to do is to launch the program. Now, I'm going to be launching one on the test site so that I can, I'm not going to mess up my own statistics here, but it's the same logo, that BNI Connect platform here. Now, again, you are going to log in with the same username and password that you would use to log into BNI Connect with. Keep in mind that that may be something that's different than your email address. So some people just by default, they keep trying their email address. It doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Make sure that your username is what you would use on the full website. Now, when we log in, the first thing that we're going to see here is, our name and our chapter and what our due date is up at the top. And then it's going to show us the last 12 months of activity. And if I scroll over to the right here, it's going to show me my lifetime in activity. Right, so it's going to show my total number of one-to-ones, my referrals given. Now that is a combination of both referrals given and inside and outside. So it's taking both of those numbers and combining them together in order to give you that bit of information. Same thing for referrals received. The top row also has that thank you for closed business given. In other words, what money have you generated for other people in your chapter? Down at the bottom, we also have visitors, referrals received, and revenue received. Now that revenue received number, that is a private number to you. That is how much money essentially you have made in BNI, so the amount of money that you have actually received in your business. Now that we do track separately. It is just a summary of all the thank you for closed business slips that you've turned in, which is the amount of money that you've received. All right, and again, that is for 12 months, and then also your lifetime if you swipe to the right. All right, down at the bottom, you'll see that we have a bunch of tabs there. This is our home screen. We also have the next one over, which says slips. And the slips are really your activity feed. So what you have turned in and what you've, for one-to-ones, and thank you for closed business and all of that here in BNI Connect. So I can see in my feed right now, it's showing me the last 30 days worth of activity. So the last 1 month, the last 30 days worth of activity. I can see I have 2 one-to-ones that are listed here, one on June 28th with Colin Hines and one on June 22nd with Joe Shetman. And then we also have 5 CEU credits. There's also a received tab right here. And on the received tab, that will show you any referrals that you have received from other people. Unfortunately, I haven't received any referrals recently in this test system, but this is where they would show up if I had. All right, and then above the columns here, we have our different activities that we can turn in. So we have our thank you for closed business, our referrals, our CEUs, and our one-to-ones. To turn in any of this activity, it's really very straightforward. So let's say I have a referral for somebody. I'm just going to go ahead and click that referral icon up there at the top. And this is very similar to a referral slip, just like we'd have in BNI Connect, or even very similar to the paper slips that we have. In the drop down here, I'm just going to choose who is my referral to. Choose somebody from my chapter. So let's say this is for Kelly Gormley. Kelly is the payroll person in my chapter. I can choose whether this is an inside or an outside referral. I can choose the status, whether they need to make the phone call or whether they're going to be receiving a phone call. And then I can fill out the referral information. Now I can just type things in here if I want to, John Smith, and put in the telephone number. But one thing that we can do on the phone that we can't do in the regular system is I can actually jump into my address book in order to pick somebody's name out. So see that little address book icon right here? That address book icon, I can go in and click that. First time in, it's going to ask me for access to my contacts. Obviously, if I want to review my contacts. And I can just go through, I can pick the right person, or of course, I can search. Choose the person. It's going to bring me into that contact. Now here you get to choose which information do you want to put into the referral slip. Let's say I want to share the mobile phone number. I want to choose this email address and this physical address. When I click continue, it's going to automatically fill that into the referral slip for me. All I need to do is put in some comments here. Please call right away. Needs payroll services. Oh, party. Yeah, let me change that. Payroll services immediately. There we go. I can then choose how hot this referral is as a 5 and confirm it. Now, just like with BNI Connect, Kelly, in this case, will get an email saying, hey, congratulations, you have just received a referral. We are looking to put notifications into the BNI Connect mobile app at some point in the very near future. It's one of the next things on our to-do list to get done. So hopefully we'll have some real in-app notifications when it comes to the activity. But now we can see that that referral is in my list. I can click on that referral. I can review it and see all of the details. And I can even go in and edit it if I wanted to. If I needed to change anything on here, I could do that. Or I could delete it. Now you can only edit it and delete it and make changes to it while it's still in what's called a draft mode. So up until the point when your slip has been submitted in BNI Connect, will it still be editable? So you can see here, for example, this one-to-one with Joe Scheckman. My vice president has already submitted that report, so I can no longer go in and edit that one. I can only review the details. All right, the other slips work very similar. So let's say, for example, the CEUs. We do have a question here from John. John says, can we use this webinar for CEUs? And if so, how many? So yes, you can turn in CEUs here. So I'm going to click on CEU. Now, there isn't really a specific one here for webinars. And that's just because, of all the different types of trainings we do, it's almost impossible to list them all here on one place. The spirit of the CEUs is that you give yourself the credit for approximately the number of hours you invested in that, sharpening your saw, learning, doing continuing education. So for this, what I would probably choose is something like, the podcasts, and give myself 1 credit for that. Because, we're going to spend, somewhere between a half hour and 1 hour in today's session. So I choose that. I'm going to click confirm. And now I have my CEU credit as well. So hopefully that answers your question on that one. All right, so let's go ahead and we did a CEU, we did a referral. Let's do a 1-to-1. So the other thing that you can do with these slips is if you've done some cross-chapter activity, meaning let's say that I had a 1-to-1 meeting with somebody else in my region, then I can record that activity in here as well. Now, right now you are limited only to the other members that are in your direct area. So for me, that's going to be other people here in Rhode Island. I couldn't record a one-to-one with somebody in Arizona or New Mexico or Texas or even Massachusetts for that matter. Only people that are in my direct region. That is something that towards the end of the year, we're looking to open that up to be able to do cross-region referrals to anybody within the country. So we are very excited for that a little bit later this year. But this works out the same way. You can just drop down from the list. But let's say you did that cross-chapter activity. What you would do is you click that magnifying glass right here, the one that's to the right of the drop-down list. And once you click that, you will be brought to a search function, and you can search for any of the people that are in your region. So let's say, there's a guy in my region. His name's Dave Cordero, same one that I used yesterday in yesterday's webinar results. But if you're not sure how they spell their name, or if it's listed as Dave or David, you don't have to fill it out here completely. All you really need to do is put in the first couple of letters. And this will bring me pretty much all of the Dave and Davids in the entire area. So I can choose the right David, and it was David Cordero, this guy right here. I'm going to select that one and choose continue. And now it is going to mark that here for me. I can choose who initiated that and call it myself, where we met at Starbucks, and the topics of conversation. So me, me, me. All right, so when I'm done with that, I click confirm, and now that will appear in my slips list and will be queued up for credit in this week's meeting. And there it is. Right, and again, I can choose the details, or I can go in and edit it or delete it. Now, this will also show up in David's feed. So only one person needs to enter that one-to-one, and it will appear in both people's one-to-one slips. So Nancy has a comment. She says, I don't have a magnifying glass. Nancy, where are you located? There are a couple of regions around the world. Namely, I know one region in Florida. There's also a couple of regions in India and the United Kingdom that don't allow any recording of cross-chapter activity at all. So if you happen to be in one of those particular areas, and yes, Gainesville, Florida, that happens to be one of those areas, Nancy, I'm afraid that you can't record those cross-chapter activities at the moment. And I think you also had a question about the webinars. I'm just behind on getting them up there. I've only gotten up through May at the moment, but I hope to get the July and now these July webinars up there as soon as possible. So hopefully tomorrow I get caught up with the July webinars. All right. Hopefully that helps, Nancy. All right, so that's one-to-ones. The one that we have left is thank you for closed business. Of course, the same things. We either have our drop-down list or magnifying glass. So let's say I'm going to choose Stephen Crandall. He is a wellness consultant in our chapter. He helps people get physically fit. And let's say I'm thanking him for $250 for new business. It was an outside referral. And this was for some consulting work. I click confirm. All right, now I have a thank you for closed business in my list as well. All right, so those are the four major types of slips that you can put in. So again, Sherry says, this is simple, clean, and well thought out. Thank you so much for that compliment. So far, that has been many people's experience with the app. All right, so the next thing that we have down here along the bottom is we do have the chapter roster. So if you click on roster, this will be your chapter roster, all the people that are in your chapter. So you can scroll through them, see their profile. So I can click on Ken Monroe here, for example, and I have a couple of options here along the bottom. I can call Ken by clicking on that phone number button. I can start an email to him. I can click on the view button and go and view his profile. and his information. You notice that the stuff there is scrambled right now because this is my test system. And I can also share the contact information. So I can go in and click this share button and use any of the native apps on my phone to share a V card. So let's say that I'm referring Ken to somebody, outside the chapter. I basically have a referral for Ken. I can take Ken's V card and text that over to the person that I'm referring so they have his contact information. So right now, we do have a question here from Corbin. Corbin says, is there a way to look up members in other chapters to get their contact info? So that is definitely on our list. And I'm going to show you how to give some feedback in just a couple of minutes for features that you'd like to see. But that one is most definitely on our list to get done in a future release. So again, we're starting small here with some of the basic things to do, but we will be constant development on this, and moving forward, we'll have more and more functionality added to it over time. All right, so hope that helps. So Sue also says, well, what about the event calendar? Same thing. That is something that will be coming in a future release. That is one of the most highly suggested features as well. But I'm going to show you in a minute how you can give your own feedback and also kind of vote for the things that you want to see in the system. All right, the next thing that we can do in here is we can invite people to come and visit our chapter. We do that by just clicking that invite button along the bottom. A very simple form to fill out. So you just, person's name. So here's where you can use your address book as well. If you happen to have the person already in your address book, you can grab their contact card here. Choose where you're going to send it to, which contact information, and it will fill this out for you. You can put an optional message in there as well if you'd like, or you can just send it as it is. Now you will receive a copy of this message as well, but this will basically just send a, this is my test server, so I can't send this one, but it sends the visitor invitation to the person that you're sending that to. All right, and it is the same visitor invitation that we have in BNI Connect as well. All right, going back to the home button, another thing that you can do is, you see how up next to my name there's a little edit button? I can go ahead and edit some parts of my profile here. So if you were on the webinar on Tuesday, there are a lot of places to fill out your profile. You can't access all of your profile through here, but you can do some very basic things like update your address and update your contact information. You can update your My Business description and your keywords. And of course, I can also update my photo. I don't have a photo in here right now, but I can go in. I can either use the camera or go find a picture already on my system. But I'm going to go ahead and take a little, hello everybody. I'm going to take a selfie here, and there it is. Click OK. I can go ahead and zoom in, zoom out, do a little bit of editing on this, very minor editing. Click OK, confirm that, and it will. That is now instantaneously my profile picture. Sherry says, wow, those are some super green walls. Yes, they are very green. It happens to be my corporate colors here at my office. So this does, by the way, this does change things right away. So if I was to go into, like, this is the training system here, I'm going to refresh this. And one thing you'll note is that my profile picture is instantaneously changed, right? So there's no delay here. We're actually using BNI Connect when we're using this system. And if you recall from my webinar yesterday, if I go in and review my thank you for closed business slip, for example, that slip that I just put in, thanking Stephen Crandall for $250, it's already here. It's here immediately. There's no delay or anything like that. I can even go in and edit the slip here in the full version of BNI Connect. So I'm going to edit this Stephen Crandall slip. And I'm going to say that this was actually $500. Click submit. And if I go back to my app here, right, and I'm going to go back to the slips, there we see it already. Look at that. The Stephen Crandall app, thank you for closed business, is already changed to $500. So this is all 100% live, 100% immediate. All right, so Steve had a quick question here. Steve says, on the visitor invitation, there doesn't seem to be a place to enter the date of the visit. That's correct, because you're inviting somebody. When they get the invitation, they will be able to go to the registration page, and then they choose what date they visit. So one of the things that we're working on next, as a matter of fact, and again, a very often requested feature, is to not just to invite a visitor, but to register for a visitor. And that's something that we're hoping to see actually in one of the very next versions releases of this mobile app. So hopefully that helps. All right, so let's also take a look. There's a couple of other things that we can do in here. You'll notice down in the bottom right-hand side, there is a More button. The More button has some very helpful links and other things. Now, I told you that you can provide feedback. This mobile app is being developed based on user feedback. So it's not, all these, big BNI people saying, oh, here's what we're going to give them next. Here's what we're going to give them next. It is. So here's what actually happens. Myself and Stephen Schwartz. Stephen Schwartz is, the brains behind, really getting BNI Connect in order and all of that. But we sit down every single week and we go through every single suggestion. And we have a big spreadsheet of every unique suggestion and how many times people request it. And we're basing the things that go into BNI Connect Next, into BNI Connect Mobile, based almost exclusively on what people are asking for, because this is a member app. This is for you guys. So we want it to best reflect your experience. That said, there's a bunch of things here. There's settings, but you can see here, there's the feedback button. It's the fourth one down. If I click that feedback, that's going to take me over to the BNI Connect support site, where we have put together a community for suggestions and feedback. So my recommendation to you is to please go ahead and look through some of these things that are in here. There are tons and tons of feedback that you can go through. So for example, just right here, it says, we should be able to register for trainings through mobile BNI Connect app. So if I click on that, I can see the comments. So we reviewed this, as a matter of fact, and registered his vote for this on the list with Stephen. But if you'd like to, this already has 3 votes, you can see. If you want to go in, you click that little up arrow, and that would give it another vote. So please provide feedback, suggestions, how else you'd like to use the app, what you'd like to see in it. We welcome all of that information. So now going back to the app, there's some other things on here. We also have the, for example, support. So if you go to the support site through this, there's tons of videos and help documents and walkthroughs and things like that. And we also have what's called the Resource Center. And in the Resource Center, you can find sitting in line somewhere or waiting for something. Go into the Resource Center and take a look at, for example, the BNI Core Value video series. Dr. Meisner has put together a series of videos that are all of our core values in BNI. You can watch them right here. You can go watch them on YouTube, whatever you'd like to do. And there you go. So that, my friends, is the BNI Connect mobile app here. So what I'd like to do is to open this up for questions. We are here at the bottom of the hour. So I do know that some people do need to leave right away. So for those of you that need to leave right away, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your business in order to learn more about BNI Connect and the mobile app and how this can really help your membership. That said, I do want to go ahead and start going through some of these questions now. And if you can hang out for a little while longer with us today, hopefully we can all learn a couple more things. All right, so let's see. Alvin had asked way back in the beginning. He said, what do I do if I try to contact a member from another group and they never respond? That is just some persistence. Some people are just not going to respond. That is the nature of it. You also have to be very careful, Alvin, about how you are approaching other people. Yes, we're in BNI. Yes, we're all here to network. But the fact of the matter is that some people approach BNI Connect and approach BNI as a giant, sales attempt. So they're reaching out and trying to sell people or trying to get them to buy their services. Nobody wants to be sold to. So make sure that when you're approaching people in BNI through BNI Connect, that you're really doing that with giver's gain in mind. We're not hunters, we're farmers. We're trying to develop long-term relationships. So, nobody's going to respond if we go after somebody, hey, I got a great deal for you. But if you approach them with a giver's gain, how can I help you attitude, then they're much more likely to respond. And sometimes when it comes to the connections, they might just not have gotten the email notification. So you can send them reminders as well, or you can even send them a separate email saying, hey, I tried to connect with you in BNI Connect, and a reminder to do so. Alvin, does that help? So Sherry says, it's just part of a new group and just charter, but don't have access to BNI Connect. So as soon as you are chartered, you should have gotten an email that said, please create your user account. If for some reason that went into spam or you didn't get it or something like that, here's what you can do. So let me log out of this system here for a second. So if you go to www.bniconnect.com, right here, there's two options. One says forgot password. The other says new to BNI Connect. So if you have not registered yet, you have not logged in, click on that new to BNI Connect. Just enter your email address and the CAPTCHA code, and it will send you a new invitation that you can respond to and get your account set up. If that still doesn't work, just shoot us an email, support@bniconnect.com, or go to support.bniconnect.com. And when you get there, there is I can't do it because I'm an admin, but up here at the top it says submit a request. And when you submit that request, that'll go to the support team and we'll just help you get set up as quickly as possible. All right, hopefully that helps, Sherry. Alicia says, should we complete these online referral slips in addition to or in lieu of the ones that we fill out at the meetings? So, Alicia, let me back up on that one a little bit. So the paper slips have been around in BNI for 30 years. And traditionally, when those slips came out, it was originally to get the information to the vice president so that they could go back and fill out the PALMS report. So if you don't know what a vice president does, at the end of each meeting, they collect all those slips, they go back to their office, they put them into little piles and say, okay, John had one one-to-one with Frank. He goes into the PALMS report in the system and puts a 1 next to John and puts a 1 next to Frank in the one-to-one column. Then he goes to the next slip and he enters that it's a very long process. When you do these slips online, whether you're doing it through BNI Connect or whether you're using the mobile app, that actually bypasses that step. It actually saves the vice president time. So the answer to that one is it's in lieu of filling out the paper slips. Now that said, some chapters like the tactile, the show of having that piece of paper, and that's absolutely fine. You can also fill in a slip so that you can demonstrate to the visitors, hey, we have a referral. What you don't want to do though is enter it online and turn that slip in, because then you might end up getting double credit for it, and we don't really want that. So either just don't physically pass it, but you can fill it out and share it and wave it around. Or if you are going to pass it in and they collect them, put an X through it or some kind of a note on there that says entered online. And that way your VP automatically knows, hey, this one was already counted. So does that help? Does that answer your question? All right, awesome. Sherry, yep, as soon as your applications are entered into the system, you'll get it. If they haven't been sent in yet, then yes, thank you so much for being patient. You'll be set up just as soon as possible. Sherry had a comment about the cross-region one-to-ones, and yep, again, that's coming. It's coming a little bit later. Hopefully later this year, we'll have the cross-region referrals and one-to-ones. Now, the cross-world stuff, that one gets a little bit hairy, and the reason being that it gets really tricky with the thank you for closed business because $1,000 in the United States is not the same as $1,000 in Taiwan, is not the same as $1,000 in Budapest, in China, in South Africa. So what happens is we either have to come up with some type of currency conversion. Otherwise, if I'm submitting $1,000 in thank you for a referral that generated money for me in the United States, and that goes into a chapter in Taiwan, I mean, 1,000 of their currency is like almost nothing. So it really it gets really, really complicated when it comes to that cross country thank you for closed business. But we're trying to figure it out. But in the meantime, we're hoping to get within country activity opened up a little later this year. So hopefully that helps explain at least, Sherry. Alvin just had a comment from before. This sure is easier than filling out a slip at 7 a.m. or during someone else's presentation. Yeah, now you can just do it. As soon as the event happens, as soon as you have that one-to-one, you can just take your phone out and enter it right away. And Sherry also mentioned this is also great motivation for a complete profile. Absolutely. Sherry says, can you search for suggestions already made? So under the mobile app suggestions, so if I go here and I go to the mobile app suggestions and feedback, up here there is a search opportunity, so you can search through them. At this point, we have quite a few, probably 60 or 70. So Melba says, I might have missed it, but does the system allow us to print our referrals for the door prize? Right now, we don't have the ability to print. So if you do want to print it, you do have to go into the full web experience. So if you go into bniconnect.com, then you go to print my weekly slips at the bottom. Oh, let me sign back in here to the training system. And all the way at the bottom of the screen here, the training system is a little slow, I apologize. Down at the bottom, it says print your weekly slips. So here is where you would go in and print them for the door prize. Or of course, you can just fill out a paper referral slip and turn that one in for the door prize. So does that answer your question, Melba? And again, I think what you just posted, if you've already input it, just write it with a red marker or put an X through it, or just make sure that somehow your VP already knows that this was input. Joe says he loves the app. He prefers to use it over the web interface. Looking forward to updates. Yeah, and again, the web interface and the app, they're very similar right now in functionality, but they will very soon start to diverge quite a bit. So there's always going to be some things that you have to go into the full website for, like reporting, for example, is just going to look better on a big screen. Filling out your profile, very few people want to fill out their whole bio using their thumbs. Certain things will remain in the full system. We're hoping to make the full system really more mobile responsive in the future, but that's something a little further down the pipeline. So Joe says, I'm a millennial. It works for me. I think you're referring to filling out your bio with your thumbs. And another good suggestion I got was also using voice to text transcription, which works pretty well in addition. All right, let's see. John says, excellent webinar. I'd like to share this webinar with my chapter. Will it be available on the mobile app before the website? So actually, if you're in the mobile app here and you go to the resource center, or you go to support, it's actually just a mobile friendly version of doing the same thing as clicking this question mark here in BNI Connect and going to this support site. So it's actually the exact same site. So for example, I'm here and I go and I click on this question mark up here in the upper right hand corner. This is just taking me directly to this BNI Connect mobile support, but really this is the exact same thing, just a mobile friendly format. So this particular webinar, if you're in the app or you're up here on the website, this BNI Connect mobile app basics and more. This is a recording of this particular presentation. I'm going to replace this recording that's up here with the most current one, the one that we just did. So you'll find it up there, but there is another version of it from a month or two ago already up there if you'd like to use that one and share it. The other place you can find this, if you go all the way back to the home screen, go to live and recorded webinars. And again, I only put through May up there right now. I'm about a month behind putting these webinars up, but I hope to have July up there and started by the end of the week. But this will have the whole series of videos up there for you to peruse. All right, Steve says, with thank you for closed business, do we include tax paid? So the general rule with thank you for closed business is it is the gross receipt to your business. So the gross receipts to your business, it does get tricky in various businesses. It really depends what your particular business is. For example, for a mortgage broker, you're not really doing the entire loan amount per se, but it might be the gross commissions to your company, not necessarily your take-home pay, but the gross commissions. Same thing with somebody like a real estate agent. As far as tax goes, I don't have a good answer for that one, to be honest with you. I would probably say without tax. All right, I think that was the last question. Do we have any other questions whatsoever? I'm happy to answer those questions now. All right, going once, going twice. Oh, Nancy, you got one at the last second there. Nancy says, can we respond to referrals given? So for example, you have your track your referrals received online here in BNI Connect. We do not have that ability yet in the mobile app. That again, that's one of the top 5 requested functionalities, and it's definitely in the running for consideration. So hopefully soon. So Steve, for a product sold, I would probably like, for example, if I was to sell somebody a computer, I would just put in the price of the computer. I probably wouldn't put in the tax. All right, awesome. So once again, going once, going twice, and sold. Thank you guys so much for being here today. And again, a good referral for me is if you found this webinar today helpful, please share the webinar with other people in your chapter, other people in the region, and help me to promote these webinars on a monthly basis. We do this series every single month, and I'd love to share it with more and more people. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend and happy connecting.